everybody to the CESET webinar series. CESET is a 3-year research project focusing on community energy systems and sustainable energy transitions in Ethiopia, Malawi, and Mozambique. It's supported by the UK Research and Innovation through the Global Challenges Research Fund. I'm Seng. I'm an Engineering for Development Research Fellow at Loughborough University. I'm very pleased today to welcome Professor Getachew Bekele from Addis Ababa University. He's a core member of the CESET team, and he's going to talk to us today about access to electricity in Ethiopia. Please add your questions to the chat box during the presentation. At the end, I'll invite you to unmute and ask your questions, or I'm also happy to read them out for you if you would prefer. The session is being recorded, and we'll also capture all of your questions in a blog post, so keep them coming. Getachew, I'm really looking forward to your presentation today.
Thank you, Seng. Hi, everyone. This is Getachew. I will be presenting, as Seng said, about the access to electricity in Ethiopia. Vicky, can you help me share my slides? Yes, thank you. So, okay. My contents or the focal slides are what are shown on the screen. It's about the country first. I will introduce the country, and then just for comparison reasons, I will say when electricity, the first electricity, of course, entered the country. And then because of shortage of electricity, what problems followed, the depletion of the vegetation and so on. And then where are we now at this time after, let's say, 100 years? That I will say. And then about the power plants currently existing and the energy sources, the potential of the country. And then, of course, the electricity demand, power plants under construction at the moment, the electric power system issues that we have, the power quality problems, because the loss is one of the highest in the world. I will have to say something on that. And then the power sector reform that is taking place. This is announced by MOWI, the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy in 2020. And then, of course, the national electrification, the so-called Light for All. This is a kind of program the government is pursuing. And these are the points that I will discuss. So I will start with the first one. It's about the country. This is Ethiopia, East Africa, about 1.13 million square kilometer. Population is about over 100 million, as you know. And the growth rate at the recent one reported by World Bank, this was in 2019, it is said to be 2.58% annually. Average GDP growth in the past, let's say 10 years or so, it is said about 10% every year. And the 2019 data is 8.4. Of course, 2019 and 2018. 18 probably it is about 6 point something percent. This is according to World Bank. So going to when did we have electricity first? It was during Menilik time in the 19th century. The first generator is used in the palace as expected, Menilik's Palace, around the year 1898. And the first power plant, according to some literature I read, was in 1881. And this is not, we were not late by not more than 20 years or so. So it's quite amazing when we see about when this electricity started in the town. And in 1912, Menilik erected the first power plant. This is called Akaki River, and this is very close to the city. And the electricity generated was used to light, streets and for houses around, the palace. So we can say the first electric power plant was established in 1912. So this is about 100 or so years ago. The funny thing, over 100 years, in 2005, what we had was only 814 megawatts of power. This is the slowest probably in the world growth rate, development rate. So over 4 gigawatt now we have, and about 43% coverage in 2016, according to World Bank report. And this shortage of electricity, people, when they build their cottages, this is what they use, as you can see in the picture. Their cottages, they just use the grass around, the wood. Cooking is firewood. Still, or close to 90% of the population, you can say, is using a firewood for cooking, for lighting. And as I said earlier, it's only 43% coverage at the moment that we have, meaning over 60 million people are living without electricity. That's what this tells us. As you can see in this picture, there is no tree that you see except one tree. Probably they left that for shading purpose. And because of this, an estimated amount of 39.4 million tons of fuel wood and 7.6 million tons of agri residues are being used because of this lack of electricity. So where are we now? Where are we? This is a very well-known picture, a satellite picture, as you can see, and this is Africa, anyways. So Africa, as you can see, is probably it's true that it's the darkest continent, and Ethiopia is around here. You know where Ethiopia is, and it's completely dark. So electricity shortage is can be said is what it is causing. This kind of no lights, no nothing. This data, I got it from one of the sources. I don't remember the source now. I just wanted to compare Ethiopia and the neighboring countries. In the table, as you can see, this is, of course, data from 2005. And if we see to the column of average power per capita, so Ethiopia is one of the least, 3.8. That's what this tells us. It was, of course, in 2005. There is a good progress now. We will see it later on. So the neighboring countries, if you see Somalia, 3.48, that is the least, of course, and it's understandable. Why? Because Somalia, you know the situation there in this time. And then the Djibouti is 32.6, and Sudan is 10.4, the Sudan, and Kenya is 14.0. All are much better than what we are having. And then when we go to this slide, The power sector status, this is according to the utility. This utility is EPCO, Ethiopian Electric Power Corporation, and this was reported in 2014. So the generation capacity in the grid is only 2,268 megawatt. Hydropower out of this takes about 1.9 gigawatt and about 1.8 gigawatt plus. Wind power about 300 megawatt in 2014. Geothermal 7.3. This is just a pilot project tried around 100 kilometers, maybe 200 kilometers away from the capital. So along the Rift Valley, there is enough potential of geothermal energy, and this is estimated to be about 10 gigawatts. But it's only 7.3 megawatt that was generated from this hydropower. And then the diesel as a support to the grid, there is about 112 megawatt generation. High voltage transmission line length is about 12,000 kilometers. The medium voltage and low voltage distribution line length is about 157,000 kilometers. Access to electricity grid to rural towns and villages about 54%. So this is reported in 2014 compared to what we had in 2015. In 2005, this is much better, but still, this is again among the least in the world, you can say. So still, we are at the lowest level. Probably, few countries may be better, maybe worse than us, but we are still in the lowest level. The resources, these are the power plants that we have. As you can see, about 3.8 gigawatt of power is generated from hydropower. Hydropower, of course, is the main source here in this country. And then, of course, a few more wind power these days, a bit more than 300 megawatt is being generated here and there. One is among in the north, and the other one is very close to the city, about 100 kilometers away, and this is in the east. And in total, what we have now is just over 4 gigawatt, maybe some 4.5 gigawatt of power that we have. This is a picture for the power plants. Gibe 2, Gibe 1, etc. So these are the locations where the power plants are erected. Takaze 300 megawatt, this is in the north, where we have a problem now in this region. And then there is this Gibe 3, so 420 megawatt. Gibe 2. This one is Gibe 3. It's 1,800. Of course, it's completed. This is Palace underground power plant. The design was done during the King Haile Selassie time, but it was not implemented. And it's a few years back that was implemented. And this is the intake. It is the Lake Tana. This one is World Bank report in 2016, and as we can see here, Ethiopia is coverage is about 42 point something, about 43%, and compared to other countries, we can see it here. Yeah. So what are the energy sources that we have? in the country, and how much of it has been used is what this shows us. Hydropower, the potential is estimated to be about 48 gigawatts. It's only 20% that has been exploited so far, that has been developed. Solar potential is high, as the country is within the region of the within the equatorial region. 4 to 6 kilowatt hour per meter square per day is what has been estimated, and there is no solar energy developed so far, approximately zero, one can say. Wind power potential estimated is about 1.35 terawatt. This is huge. Actually, it's in the eastern part. There is huge wind power resource there, but so far about 2% of this is what has been exploited. So geothermal energy, as I said earlier, 10,000 megawatt, 10 gigawatt, and almost zero has been developed so far. The only pilot projects that I talked about a bit earlier is about 7 megawatt. Wood, 11-20 million tons. Agricultural residues, 15 to 20. Natural gas, 113 billion meter cubed, but nothing, no development of power with this. But the potential, as you can see, is so high. And then the coal also is there, oil shale, and then the nuclear. Quite recently, there is this draft proclamation that was approved by the parliament. They want to use nuclear energy for peaceful application. That is what is said. This proclamation has been approved. As I said, the Ethiopian Nuclear Science and Technology Council has been or is to be established. The Ethiopian Nuclear Science and Technology, this is what is written in the policy, in the nuclear, this so-called proclamation. It is to be autonomous institution led by the Prime Minister himself. So, but so far, I think it's because of the problem currently existing in the country that nothing has been done so far except the approval of the proclamation. So we don't know, but hopefully if things change for the better, then it is possible that he will start it again. Objectives of the institute, the councils and whatnots of the nuclear is to enable the country to fully exploit multidimensional and peaceful uses of nuclear science and technology, promote the peaceful development of nuclear science and technology, develop, strengthen, and implement nuclear science and technology through research, to speed up the comprehensive development of the country. That's what has been written in the objectives of this proclamation. Develop training plans and opportunities, etc. So this is about nuclear. And now we can talk a bit about this electricity demand, which of course currently the country is thinking to develop. It's one of these projects is the railway development. Railway development, it is divided into two. One is the so-called light rail in the city, Addis Ababa. And this one is, this has been already completed, and it is giving service to the community, to the people. And it has two directions, one from north to east and the other from north to south. The other one is from east to west. Altogether, this is about 30 kilometers length. And then another one is to connect the country to Djibouti. This one is also an electric railway. And there is again another that has been started but not completed. That of Djibouti has been completed, but there is one from Awash to so-called Waldia, very close to Bekele, the northern region, Tigray capital. And then a second one again from Waldia to Bekele. These are the two long distance projects for railway. So it needs electricity, as one can expect. So another one is large irrigation projects are being started at the moment in the different regions of the country. That also requires this electricity demand. Large irrigation projects, new industrial developments. There is what we call industry parks here and there, over 10 that has already been completed and have started producing some products. Large-scale dwelling house, so-called condominiums here and there, not only in the capital, but everywhere in all towns in the countryside. Everywhere these condominiums are being built, and each condominium is of at least 120 kilowatt demand, and it's in millions that are being built. There is also what is called Universal Electricity Access Expansion Program. This is a program run by the utility. This also has its own project, and that also is a demand. They have to, of course, complete quite a lot of projects in the country. It's a kind of established unit in the utility. So they are given tasks to electrify countrysides and so on. So that's also another demand. Then electricity export. Export is also in their project. As you may know, there is a connection between Ethiopia and Kenya at this time. HVDC, high voltage DC transmission line has been completed, I think, on the Ethiopian side, but I'm not sure on the Kenyan side. Maybe they have completed as well. So, and then of course the plan is quite ambitious. They want to connect up to the Sudan, to Egypt, etc., and from eastern side to Yemen, etc. But as we all know, there are problems at the moment. I don't know how this will progress. Now, about power plants under construction, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam with so much problem at the moment. This is of approximately 6,000 megawatts, 6 gigawatt. This is quite high. It can possibly, if it is completed, then it will definitely double the electric generation, the power generation of the country. And then the Ganali Dawa, which is completed again, 254 megawatt. Aluto Langano, it has been under construction. I don't know, we will see it later on. It's like so far completed is about, I think, if I'm not wrong, yeah, it's here, about 25% completed. Then GERD is in the table down here, as you can see, is about 77% completed. So the remaining 20-something percent, we don't know when, but in 2-3 years' time, they say it will be completed. Then Aisha Wind Farm, this is again about 70% completed. So this is the currently under construction power plants. This is the GERD, okay, and the export. This one is the export plan of the utility. So as you can see here, the Sudan, Egypt up here Yemen, Somalia, Somaliland, and Kenya, and of course, yeah, they also have some plans of even going down to Mozambique. We don't know, but it looks to me that this is too ambitious. I'm not sure when they will be completing it, but this is their plan, the plan of the utility. The power system issues, power quality problems is quite a serious problem. It can be said because the loss level is one of the lowest in the world, if not the lowest, of course. It's one of the lowest. So for power quality, even today we were in a meeting to discuss energy policy, but this is a serious problem. As you can see from the fuel that is used to generate the electricity and the generation and the transmission line, then the distribution and the home appliances, etc., all are so inefficient, and the loss is estimated to be over 20% altogether on the average. So these are power quality issues, as you know: voltage surge, voltage dips, under voltage, high voltage, frequency variation. All these are, of course, problems in this country. So power quality problems, yes. Then we have this data from World Bank in 2014. As we can see here, Ethiopia is 19% loss, Germany 4%. I just wanted to compare countries from other countries with the loss level that we have. India, of course, is 18% according to World Bank report. Then we have Israel about 4%, Singapore 0%, world average is 8%, and we are at 19%. So this is huge. EU, US, sub-Saharan countries 12%, and still we are so high loss. Then we have the power sector reform roadmap by Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Electricity 2020. They have this document, guiding document for the next 5 years. And in this document, institutional framework and governance improvement, regulatory framework strengthening, restructuring of the utility, introducing contractual framework. All these are to be done in the coming few years. By 2025, they say everyone will have electricity. It's yet to be seen. Currently, they say 4,500 megawatt in 2018. 2009, it was 16 to 18 hours every day, power shedding. This is the problem. Now, the situation has improved. About 44% of total coverage is what is reported. Country faces the second highest electricity access deficit in Africa, as you can see, over 60 million people without access. Urban, 96% of households are connected to the grid. Yes, about 99.9% in Addis. Only 27% for rural households. So when we compare the rural and the cities, then you can see so much difference between the two. To finance financial sources, they have also put some sources in the document. To finance the expansion of the power sector, government is moving from public generation investment to independent power producers, IPPs they call it. And then, of course, enabled by public-private partnership that has been established quite recently, maybe in 2019. So this is a unit in the finance minister. that, of course, allows or denies projects. So now mandate is given to this unit. So under the new PPP framework, a dedicated PPP unit has been established at the Ministry of Finance, as I said. So the government of Ethiopia is also preparing transparent and competitive. So this is in the document they have prepared. But to be seen. So a summary of the document is, I can skip this because of time, I guess. Okay. Now, National Electrification Light for All program. This may be of interest to us. Achievements of UEAP. This is the unit I talked about, Universal Electricity Expansion Access, Electricity Access Expansion Program. So according to this unit, an impressive electric infrastructure development has been done. Construction and upgrading of 58 substations and construction of 1,395 kilometers of 132 kV and 522 kilometers of 230 kV transmission lines completed. So this is quite significant progress in the last few years. Totally, we have 7,000 towns approximately and villages are electrified throughout the country because of this UEAP. So local capacity building in construction and manufacturing sectors, job opportunities for citizens. Okay, it is so. That's what they say. Now there is this NEP 1 and NEP 2. NEP 1 ended around 2017, and NEP 2 has been developed now. It's the new guide book the ministry is using. NEP 2 is an updated version of NEP 1, and after it is released in 2017, and following new 2 assessments. One of the assessment is the so-called multi-tier framework, MTF they call it. Assessment, the overall electricity access of Ethiopia is found to be 44%. They have assessed using this MTF. And then the second one was based on what they said, geospatial analysis, and the analysis is done. And the picture shows that how this analysis is done. And with this analysis, they have determined about that 75 to 80% of the population are within 5 kilometer distance of the grid. So quite close. Probably this is, of course, good because they can be connected anytime soon. But there is, again, this 10 to 15% within 10 kilometer distance, quite long distance, as one can see. Then 4 to 5% of the current and future estimated to be within 25 kilometers. Again, there's a lot to do. This is what this shows. This table here again shows us the GTP's growth and transformation program from 2019 to 2025. So if we see here to the last column, the development is, this is a prediction of the ministry. So by 2025, they say 100% electrification is possible, they will achieve. That's what this table shows us. Each year there is an increment of this, what you see in the table. So hopefully it will be true. Okay, we will have to wait and see. Then NEP 2, this is connection target for social institutions, this table here. So an estimated health centers and schools represent 2 key priorities in the electricity access program. An estimated amount, 1,300 secondary schools and 2,700 health centers lack access to electricity, and the planned electrification for social institutions is what you see in the table. So yeah, it's an impressive, but okay, it is yet to be seen whether this is to be completed or not. Here again, the universal access by 2025 will require an overall investment of about US 6 billion. That's what they have estimated. So, well, where does this money come from, etc. Okay, and here we have another slide, implementation progress that was made so far. So finance source UK plus DOE, it can start, you can start from here, the lowest level, 25 million USD. This is finance government of Ethiopia plus component 25 solar mini grids. Status bid is floating. We will see that later on about this 2 different projects have been started. One is of 12 towns to be electrified soon. Of course, part of this has been completed, and there are some that are left to be done later. This is one, sorry, this is a picture showing the implementation of these 12 towns. So, oh, okay. And this is also one of the towns. Okay. 12 towns, PV standalone with World Bank. 67% is completed. About 2 regions have not yet been done. It's only 67% complete. Okay. I think I'm running out of time. Did I see a message?
No, you still have a couple more minutes, but then it would be good to allow some time for questions as well.
All right, okay. I will complete it now. I'm almost done. All right, okay. This is about renewable option in a rural context that is to be followed. And this one is about development plan in 10 years, which the government has put in place. Capacity building from 4.5, estimate to be 17.5 in 10 years, and so on. Transmission line length from 19 to 33,000 kilometers, higher than 132 kV substation, 176 to 265, etc. So estimated cost for all this progress is about 35.6 billion USD. So that's it from my side. Thank you for your attention.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. I really enjoyed that. We have